So let's get started with leadership and management. This is your first chapter, and this one's going to go over leaders and management and followers. A couple of things that I do want you to remember about this course is that I really need for you to read your chapters. They're not long at all. They're very easy to read. And to make sure that you're coming into class prepared, you will have some assignments, in-class assignments, and some EAQ assignments along with a couple of case studies and your projects that you'll need for your course. There is not a HESI test for this class. However, a lot of this information, though, you will see on your board, so I want you to be prepared. You've probably seen this before, but this is known as the triple aim of healthcare, and it's looking at the major things that we've talked about since day one when you started the nursing program, and it's access to care, the quality of care, and our cost of care, and how can we help control that while giving individuals access to care. One of the things that we are seeing with these changes that we're trying to make to be able to give out that quality care is looking at opportunities that are out there for nurses. And right now, this is a great time for advanced practice nurses, because a lot of facilities are now hiring them instead of so many doctors, and the nurses are just kind of running the show underneath the doctors. So it decreases the cost. So, and actually, when you have more of them, of course, you have more access to care. So these are some things that they're looking at, because some different things that they're trying have not been quite as successful, one being the Affordable Care Act. So they're still working on ideas, but in the meantime, we still have to think about our patients and our populations and giving them the type of care that they need and deserve. Looking at leadership, here's a definition that they give, and this is usually a definition that deals with unknown situations, and that's what ends up happening with leaders. They never know what's going to be put on their plate. One of the things I do want you to think about is patient care in administrative situations that require the use of leadership skills. Because as we know, authority doesn't always mean someone's competent as a leader. So I want you to pay attention while you're in clinicals and when you're in your preceptorships, and look at some of the leadership skills that individuals have. Kind of take note: what are good, what are the bads, what do you like, what do you don't like. But what's effective and non-effective. Sometimes something can be effective even though we may not care for it. So just start paying a little bit of attention while you're out there. When it comes to management, this is a little bit different. Their definition is going to more so be more towards protocols and procedures that they are trying to manage. So this can refer to your control over individuals' works or energies that are put into their day-to-day activities. So when we think about this, you want to think what is required of management skills. And management usually they're more in of making sure they have staffing for the acuity of patients that they have. It's looking at budgets. It's making sure people are educated and the orientations are done, and all those busy things that keep a unit running. And the manager is going to work underneath the leader. Now here's a definition about followership. And followership is going to require active engagement and a lot of preparation from members of this group who are going to be the followers. Following is just as accountable as being a leader or managing. One of the things that you want to think about followerships is that it can help to improve patient outcomes, organizational outcomes. There's an example I want you to look at in your textbook. It's exercise 1-1, and it demonstrates the use of how we lead, manage, and follow in a short span of time. So if you look at that, it's on page 6, and it's exercise 1-1. So just kind of look over that and think think over some situations that you've been in and how you can uh, apply what we've just gone over in the first part of this textbook into this one exercise. When it comes to emotional intelligence, this is what helps people see others in a more positive light. In other words, two managers could reach the same decision and present the idea to two different groups. The one with the skills inherent for more emotional intelligence is going to be likely to be perceived as a more positive, even though the outcome may be the same. So to be emotionally intelligent, they're going to talk about 5 domains. We're going to talk about those on the next slide. But think about someone who's encouraging and who may be telling you something that someone else just told you and you didn't want to do, but the way they said it and the way they encouraged you actually made you agree, even though they were telling you the same thing someone else said. And that is known as your emotional intelligence. A lot of leaders and managers who have this ability can go a long way. So here are the 5 domains about emotional intelligence that are associated with those competent practitioners that we work with. One of those is having self-awareness, meaning that you can identify the emotions you are feeling and that you know how they are altering your perceptions. So you have an inward going, okay, I know how I feel, but that's kind of changing my opinion or my thoughts. Managing emotions, this can mean that the negative emotions such as fear, anger, passive aggressiveness are being avoided. And it's not only managing yourself, your own emotions, but also helping to manage the emotions of others. Motivating self, this suggests that we would be inwardly rather than externally driven. When you think about being empathetic, this suggests that we value the differences in viewpoints, and we don't side with one group versus another. We can actually sit there and look at both sides of an issue. Handling relationships. This means that you are being socially appropriate, whether you're using your social skills to help others manage their emotions, looking at your social networking skills, your behavior, and how you approach others and how you're being perceived by others. I wanted to put this box up here for you. It's in your textbook. It's straight out of there. And these are actually attributes that effective leaders and managers have in addition to being emotionally intelligent. So look these over. I think they're very helpful. There's several different types of leadership theories: trait, style, situational, contingency, and transformational. Some of the leadership theories that you'll see are also listed in your textbook 9 through 11, so please take a moment to look at those. 2 I was going to mention real quick is your trait theories, and when you look about trait theories and situational contingency theories, these are the ones that we see a lot more so than some of the others, but I do want you to look at them all, but these were 2 that I have seen more so in my practice, but please make sure to look over those. I want you to take a minute and look over in your textbook about complexity theories. And this is just stating that nurses need to be more flexible and dynamic and in tune with our ever-changing systems, learning to interact and adapt through relationships and changes in systems and people, healthcare, public policies, and your human relationships. So take a minute and look through there, and they give you some examples in that section of your textbook. Here's also known as Gardner's Task of Leaderships, and it gives you some different tasks. As you look here, a lot of them are actually self-explanatory, but they give you a great table in your textbook, pages 14 through 15. And it talks about the clinical position, the management position, and more of your executive or leader position with each one. And so it gives you some great examples in looking at all these different tasks. So these are really interesting if you would look at those as well. The other thing I want you to do is to look at the last two slides, and this is also in your textbook, known as BLAS Task for Management and Followership. So just look those over, and that'll do it for this recording.